Healthy Rebel Radio is sponsored by the Healthy Rebel app. 300 plus secretly healthy, delicious, mouth-watering dessert and treat recipes made with all-natural, whole food ingredients. Now available for download on the App Store and Google Play. Find out more details at healthyrebel.com.
Welcome to Healthy Rebel Radio. I'm your host, Dr. David Deisner. I'm here with my Damie Health Healthy Rebel co-founder, Amy Lane. Good morning.
Good morning.
We've got a few interesting health and wellness stories to go through today. The first one is a longevity story. We did something last week about another community found in the Mediterranean who's living extremely long. Mm-hmm. But this story came from NPR yesterday morning. The scientists reviewed 1 billion Social Securities and tax records in the U.S. And what they found was the wealthiest, most expensive, most well-educated cities. There's a sentence for you. Most well-educated. Most well-educated cities live the longest. Does that surprise you?
No. Yeah,
me neither.
Unfortunately.
The thing that was most shocking to me was the disparity in the U.S. between lifespans. There was a 15-year difference between the longest living and the other end of the spectrum. I think that's huge.
What I would automatically go to in my mind is food and stress.
Mm-hmm.
Because generally speaking, lower incomes, the food, and especially historically, what we've given people,
exactly,
is just disgusting. It isn't food. It's just stuff to keep humans alive that doesn't do a great job. And then the stress of not having. It doesn't surprise me at all.
For sure. And I don't think we can... everyone is speculating right now. What is the difference? Why is, some places people are living 15 years longer than other places just within the U.S.?
I believe food and stress would be.
Exactly.
If we broke
I would
it
as well.
All the way down.
I don't think it has... so there was differences as well between cost and education, mm-hmm. where this is... I'm explaining the biggest spectrum, where the least expensive places with the least educated people lived the shortest. But there was places where there was high education and low cost, where it was sort of average, or high cost and low education, where it was different as well. It wasn't on the lowest spectrum. Mm-hmm. This is the biggest spectrum difference. And what you see is, for sure, I don't think it's all about the money. I think it's more about the knowing about a healthy lifestyle, knowing about what a good diet is, and then, of course, having the means to achieve it is important, of course. But, it can be done without those means, and the studies showed that.
It definitely can be done, but we've driven through America, and we've ended up in some pretty small towns.
And we had a really hard time finding things to eat.
And we saw what the government-issued food stamp discount things were on.
Mm-hmm.
And it was processed meats, white...
which we know cause cancer.
White sub buns with processed cheese and processed meats. That's what I saw.
Mm-hmm.
I never once saw a salad with the government-issued thing, which I know they do. I've seen reports on Fox News. Everyone calm down.
Mm-hmm.
But what you're going to go and grab if you don't only have so much money, you're not going to go grab a salad if you need to be...
No, you're going to go to one of those delis that we went through, because often when we're on the road, we'll go to the fruits and vegetables section and we'll try and stock up on snacks and try and make something happen. Or we'll go to the deli in the same part of the store.
Well, I always go to the deli, period, because I always get hummus.
Mm-hmm.
And in these smaller towns, a lot of the time the hummus was in the deli mm-hmm. section. So then I would always check out, okay, what are people eating for the fast grab? And I would watch people and I would see what the stickers were on and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I would look at it.
Right.
It's upsetting.
It is. And we're in such a utopia type odd situation here where if we go to the same area in our grocery store, it's like there's like quinoa dishes that you can scoop out, and there's like chickpea
Mediterranean dishes that you can, that have already pre-made quinoa, dalmates.
Yeah, we're so fortunate.
Falafel, hummus. Like, we live in an amazing place that everyone has, I would say, equal and easy access to healthy foods. But that isn't the case everywhere.
No, it's not. But what I think needs to...
Not that it's impossible, because the thing I will say is that we did physically travel across America, and we did not eat one of those other items. We ate fruits and vegetables and hummus.
We made it work, yeah.
We did eat the way we eat. We didn't eat junk. I didn't once eat one thing that wasn't vegan and wasn't healthy. And I didn't eat anything processed. I mean, aside from like hummus that is processed as in blended.
Right.
But
yeah, I mean, what the reason I wanted to bring this up and even speak about it today is because it sort of highlights the idea of the show that we're putting on here. You don't need to have a master's or a PhD to eat well. You don't need to be extremely high educated to learn the things that are important.
No, but I will say the devil's advocate here.
Please, yeah.
You can't save the world when you can't pay your bills.
No, it's true.
So that, to me, like that quote and that the meaning of that whole thing comes back to, I'm going to put myself in the place where I'm living in the middle of America, and I make, just above minimum wage. I'm a single mom. I have 2 kids, and I'm basically paying, over half my paycheck for the childcare for me to have the job. So then I have to go to the grocery store, and I have to feed these people, and I have to take that money, and it has to stretch as far as humanly possible.
Such a challenge.
Now, am I going to get the little tiny salad, or am I going to go over here and get 3 subs that may feed my children for 3 days? That's the problem.
Oh,
and the problem, that we need to resolve. Like, first of all, I feel like our education system it hasn't evolved for 100 years, and I think it's insane. The progression has been so slow. I think we should be teaching, like, actual people that know what they're talking about, teach healthy eating. There's a healthy eating segment in my nephew's education program last year, and basically, the whole thing was, you have to drink as much milk as humanly possible.
Oh, he was pumped.
And I was, and not only that, he has a dairy sensitivity. So this caused a huge rift in the family because he has a dairy sensitivity that reacts in very nasty ways for him. And he's like, but my teacher said.
Yeah.
And when you're a child, your teacher is a god.
Oh, yeah.
And they know the most. And my sister was trying to explain to him, there's other ways, honey, that we can get calcium here. I know your teacher said that, and without putting down the teacher, you have to say the teacher did not know what he was talking about. So we need to educate everybody equally on things like proper nutrition, stress reduction, educate more on like the jobs and what we have access to and what those incomes are.
And start to change these patterns of thought that have evolved over the last 50 years. Like, do you know how many people come in and say, well, I have to drink milk, or I have to even take my calcium capsule, like, because I need strong bones. Like, that's what I need.
I mean, and that's aside from all the intense... There's a bus going right now, not the one in front of us, but there's one going right now that if you see it, that says, drink milk to reduce colon cancer.
Oh, my goodness.
I saw it the other day, and I was like, what? Well, how? What? It's just like driving by, and I was just like, wait a minute, what's happening here?
Health Canada allows them to do whatever they want.
Because they're here, that they're the big industry, But we need to educate the children on healthy life choices in all aspects and help everybody, no matter where you come from, what you can do, and spread the truth that, you may come from a harder situation, but you can build a foundation and have a life exponentially better than what you've seen. And we need to give that to everybody. Yeah. And it starts with just the foundation of teaching people how to actually eat and make healthy choices, what those are, not the commercials of health, whatever they're promoting, the big businesses, but actual fundamentals of healthy eating. And then also how to pad your situation to get a really great job. Because it's possible.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I think the next thing is providing the resources. We have to be, not providing the white processed meat sub. Like, that can't be the only low low-cost option for feeding a big family. There's got to be other resources available. And
Well,
we know these things can be done inexpensively because we do them.
We've done them. When David was going through his education process, we've talked about this before, it was an unbelievable amount of money, and we didn't have any financial support. And we basically would take half of my income a year and put half that income on the student loans to reduce it and live off half my income. Mm-hmm. So we did it. And we didn't bend how we live. We just altered things to be more suitable to be able to afford it. Mm-hmm. But we didn't we weren't unhealthy.
No, we weren't unhealthy. And we'll be honest, still one of our highest bills was food. I mean,
yes. One of our highest bills is food. There's no way around that.
I mean, we still maintain that. Mm-hmm. But it's so important.
But we alter other things around it.
To make it work, exactly.
Definitely. It's like when people say they don't have time, yet they spend an hour on Facebook a day.
Right.
I don't have time to exercise. And you break down what they actually do, and they have a whole hour where they sit on Facebook. Well, that is unnecessary. Mm-hmm. Same with when you break down your bills. We had to go through our bills. What's unnecessary? Well, dining out was unnecessary. Certain entertainment. Well, when you are trying to pay something off and you're going through a time of sacrifice, it's not necessary. You have to find something else. And we did. Mm-hmm. And we would literally entertain ourselves free. Yeah. And we'd use the food we have. We would have picnics outside. We would go to the beach. We would do things that were really fun, but, didn't cost money. And everybody is capable of doing that. Mm-hmm. Everybody. And until we live in a time where healthy food is as inexpensive as this highly processed crap that takes way more energy and resources in the world for it to make. Makes no sense. But until that levels out, we have to be intelligent and make smart choices and choose health for ourselves, because we're the only ones. We can sit around and talk about it, that we're victims and then just shovel crap into our mouths, or we become, advocates. Mm-hmm. And we stand up and we say, you know what, no. Yeah. And we shape the world we want to see. And like I said, every time you spend money, you're casting a vote of what you want to see. Mm-hmm. So, I feel very comfortable spending money on healthy food because that's what I want to see. I want to see it for everybody. I want the processed food to disappear. Mm-hmm. The crap, the unnecessary crap.
Yes.
That's basically not doing anything for anybody.
I agree. And it's going to be slow and it's going to be these minor changes, but we've seen it happen in our city. In a major way.
Yeah.
It's possible.
Yeah, I can't think of where the closest, burger fast food chain would be here.
Yeah, exactly. Because it just doesn't happen.
Well, and it's because no one casts their vote there. No one spends their money there, so they just don't come here.
It's so important. It may not seem like a lot when you're in it, but it really is.
But then you own your power. And there's something very, very... there's an energetic thing that builds for you when you own your power, including your money, mm-hmm. and you take accountability and stop being a victim, and you start casting your vote in a powerful way and paying your energy towards what you believe in, and kind of letting the rest, fall off.
Even within your own life, when you make those choices, it feels so good. Along the same lines, if you choose to spend 20 to 30 minutes exercising instead of being on Facebook, the feeling of casting your vote for a healthier life is really good, and it uplifts you, and it shapes your day, really.
It's powerful. And what you pay attention to, what you pour energy into, is your life.
Yeah, you can't forget that.
You can't forget it. And it's something, for instance, we don't have cable. We cut cable a few years ago. That was an expense we could cut. When it started out kind of back when Dave was in school, we don't need cable. First of all, he was studying all the time. I was working all the time. It's a bill we don't need. We could take that money, put it on student loans. So we cut cable. It started that way. Then we moved. We, are fine. We never had the urge to get cable again. When they offered us cable for free, we said no. Yeah. Our internet provider, and they were like, okay, weirdos. We're like, no, we just don't want it. Anyway, we stayed in a cabin, and the funniest part is this is like an off-the-grid situation, and they got cable in this cabin. So David and I turned it on, and we're like, oh, let's see what's happening. And we scrolled through. We tried twice to turn it on, and twice we ended up just turning it off. There's not one thing we want to watch.
I don't feel like we missed anything.
There's not one thing we cast our vote or energy or take our time away from life to participate in. There wasn't one thing. Isn't that funny?
It's odd.
We're just like, no, like there's nothing here. I would never pay money for this.
I know, and we tried to watch a basketball game on the cable, and the amount of time it takes to watch the commercials.
Oh yeah, I should say that we pay for a streaming service through NBA. That's one thing that we do. We pay for NBA Live.
It's much less expensive than cable, and
it's way less expensive, and we actually enjoy the NBA. And there's no advertising screaming in our face. No one's telling us to buy anything.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's kind of shocking.
We tried to watch this basketball game on the cable, and we were both like, we can't take it. Let's just turn on the NBA TV. It's just, so. It's just about casting your vote. Like,
it is.
I'm just not going to sit there and cast my vote that, this Dance Moms is something that should be on television.
No.
I just don't. It's just foolishness.
No.
It's not adding to anybody's anything.
Oh, it's really not. So we've got the, providing the resources. We've got the providing the education. I think the third thing is about, increasing your income or reducing your debt. Because we were watching a thing recently that said that Americans, and I would assume this is... Oh, actually, no, this wouldn't be because we have free healthcare, but 50% of the debt in the U.S. is on medical bills.
The level of empathy I have towards that...
It really sucks.
It literally makes me sick, and it makes me so anxious to think about that there's so many people in those situations, because those people that are affected are people that don't have great health insurance.
Mm-hmm.
So... these people, I have to believe, don't have access to pay off these big... Like, it just has to be a compounding stress that just is unbelievable.
Yeah, then you have less money to buy good food, and then you get sicker. And you have to spend more money.
Not only that, you're sick, and then you're stressed. How the heck am I going to pay for this? I mean, it makes me just so sad.
Mm-hmm.
It's just really...
So something has to change there, and I know that, obviously, in the last 8 years, things have changed. And... yeah, I still don't know what the landscape is and how people feel about it because you hear so many different things.
But that's the thing. I don't know what their healthcare what they're trying to change, what Obama's trying to do or whatever. I really haven't looked that much into it. But I wish that every American that is like against universal healthcare could come to Canada and just like live for a month and feel the vibe of that. We do have to pay for our health insurance, but if I fell down and broke my leg tomorrow, there's nothing I have to pay for.
Right.
I just go to a hospital and I'm taken care of.
Exactly. It's there's no extra mental or financial stress.
No.
You know what's going to be happening.
Right. And I mean, same with right now, I can't imagine, when you're pregnant in the States, I was reading how much money it costs. Like to have the baby. Like,
it's crazy.
Well, it's just so stressful.
Then you have to make financial decisions for the baby. That are promoting a healthy life. It's like, oh my gosh.
I know, it's just really stressful. But I mean, and I think that
yeah. The foundations are that you need to shape the health and happiness and financial vision you have for yourself. And then put the emphasis on healthy food and really make that a huge part of your budget and make it
healthy
possible.
Food, healthy lifestyle, debt reduction, and speaking to, employment that can actually pay for what lifestyle. Educating people on that bundle should just be what happens, the basics. And it has to be louder than the crap on TV.
Yeah.
That are these advertisers that are screaming at people that are full of crap.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. I mean, there can't be a 15-year discrepancy between longevity. I mean, that's insane. Like, that's not fair.
But I don't find it surprising.
No. Unfortunately,
it seems right to what I'm seeing, what's going on in the world.
And even one last thing about this: there's some populations, some cities, where men and women have increased in longevity since 2001, but many places have just remained exactly the same or gotten less, and it's those situations that are in dire need of support.
And I have to believe that lifestyle has to have a lot to do with it.
Definitely, and like we said today, that comes from education, that comes from financial resources, and it comes from actual resources being available.
But it's hard to make change in certain communities. Like, when we're from a small town, and when I went vegetarian, I had to explain it multiple times a day until the day I left. And it's just very different there.
Yeah, and it's very different in these places. My gosh, to make change.
That's what I'm saying.
Holy smokes!
Like it's not that we don't believe that any of this stuff is just easy. We're not saying it in a passive way, but we're saying it's necessary. You know, and change that is worth it usually takes some effort and some consistency, and usually there's some resistance, and that's just life. But
it's uncomfortable at first when you have to, start changing what you're spending money on.
Definitely, but that's just, we should be educating people so they know. You know, like if you're gonna pour crap into your body's gonna be crappy. Like it's just like you can never feel guilty spending money on health, because the other end of that is dying or spending money on being an unhealthy person, which costs so much money to maintain. So
that's true.
I don't understand where the confusion there even is.
I think this study will help with shaping these pillars that need to change. I mean, I'm sure that there'll be more people speaking about this and going through what needs to happen and coming up with ideas for actually making change. And I know in our life we have made these significant changes, and it's just that's an N of one, sure. But we've been teaching people how to eat healthy on the road and do these kind of simple things, how to spend money on food for quite a long time, and I think that it's going to be huge in the future.
And I think too that us sharing our story of going through the education process not being funded, and then going through business not being funded, and then what we've had to do and actually the sacrifices we've had to make, I think it's really important to continually remind people of that, because I think people feel alone, because I know I did when I was sitting there working my butt off, and you were in school, and I'm just like, okay, I need to come up with $20,000 next month for his next payment of whatever. Like, how am I going to do that? Plus, I need to keep my business going, whatever. And all my peers in business were funded. Education's paid for by parents or grandparents. Came from families that this was just the norm to help the next generation. And they were all basically in a clique together, also promoting each other. It was really hard, and I felt really alone. And I felt like everyone had it better than me. Like, I cried a lot, and it was really, really hard to at one point I was making really great money for the first time in my life, but I was literally giving it every cent of it away. I didn't get to enjoy one dime of it. It was all going to the education process, to the debt we had already incurred by the education process, back into our business so it would move forward, and then just to pay for us to eat and sleep and live. It was really, really hard. So, the reason I always bring it back up is because if there's someone out there like us that is in that place, I want them to know they're not alone. I don't want everybody, in business and in the online communities and in health and wellness or going through education or trying to better their lives to believe that you have to have these certain things given to you or you can't do it. Because we are the struggle story, and we've had great success, and it's going to get exponentially better. Like, it's never, and I'm never going to shut up about it, because I never want someone to feel, if we can just change that one person, like, like I just felt so alone. I couldn't find one person that was doing what we were doing. And it felt like we were just behind, and it felt like we were going to end up losers.
Yeah.
How could we win when these people have these decks stacked for them? But we did.
Exactly. It can be done.
It can be done. And I think that's why it's important for us to continue to spread all of our message, even about health. We didn't come from this.
No.
We created it. None of this. We created all of it. So I think that's the value of also us continuing to just keep putting it out there for the people that, aren't born into these perfect situations.
Exactly.
In all aspects.
No, it's in all aspects.
Including health, including, education, including financial, freedom, including, lifestyle. Everything we've completely changed from what we were initially given. And we're not special. Everybody's special or no one's special kind of deal. So, like, you can do it too.
Yes.
Right?
I love it.
Yeah.
It's thank you for sharing that, because it's really important to share. We have had zero funding for any of these ventures.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. And we both were, had really unhealthy things about ourselves, just our basic of health. We had terrible habits. We both had health issues.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We transformed every single thing. We didn't have an example of this partnership that we have. We've never seen it. We created it from nothing, right? So I don't want any, all aspects of this we've created. So if there's anyone out there that feels they want something but they can't see the example of it.
Yes.
I just want to be that reminder of that's okay.
Oh, thank you, because the major change I think that has allowed us to do this is that realization that your experiences aren't what your future will be.
That's it. We had to let that go. Yeah. And we had to let go of everybody we knew just because we hadn't seen what we wanted and didn't have a firm example of it.
That's okay.
It's okay, and we could still get what we want. Yeah. We had to just create it.
Yeah. Love it. That's Healthy Rebel Radio for today. Thank you so much for sharing all that. Awesome. Have a great day, and we'll see you again tomorrow.
See you.
Healthy Rebel Radio is presented by the online health and wellness center, DamieHealth.com. Since 2009, Amy Lane has successfully coached thousands of women through her signature program, the Bikini Body Program. Join today to work exclusively with Amy to unveil your greatest yet to be from the inside out. Go to DamieHealth.com for more information.
Thank you for listening to Healthy Rebel Radio. Please connect with us on our community pages on Facebook, Pinterest, and Instagram, all at the handle @DamieHealth. For weekly recipes, articles, and all our episodes straight to your inbox, join our newsletter at DamieHealth.com. You can find all the links discussed in today's episode in the show notes. Thank you for joining us, and see you tomorrow.